Hello, here we are, early summer. We're here in the hosta collection at the University of Nebraska East Campus Maxwell Arboretum, and one of the best hosta collections in the state. And we're here for a good reason. We're here to talk about long-lived perennials, and I thought what better way to talk about long-lived perennials than to talk about ones we're familiar with. And you probably know hostas, the iris, the daylilies, peonies come to mind. All of these plants we know very well because they're dependable, long-lived perennials. But today I want you to take you a little tour out in the hot sun to some sun-loving perennials that are also long-lived, but somehow have missed the boat. They aren't planted as much as our familiar friends, our peonies and iris and daylilies, but these plants deserve to be planted in the landscape. And if you take a little time, I want to take you on a little tour and show you some of my favorites. There's plenty to choose from, and hopefully you'll get a few ideas for your own garden on our little tour. So join me, let's go look at some long-lived sun-loving perennials. Hey, here at the Nebraska Statewide Arboretum demonstration gardens, we have a rain garden demonstration area. And rain gardens are becoming very popular words right now for good reason. It's about trapping the water, not letting it run off your site, and keeping the water and letting it kind of settle into a garden area. And there's certain plants that do better in rain gardens than others. And while we're on the subject of long-lived perennials, boy, this one has been very, very dependable for me, man. This is Culver's root and Veronicastrum. And Culver's root is a native plant to low areas, and low areas near rivers and streams tend to get flooded sometimes a year, and other times a year it's very droughty and dry. So these plants can take that very droughty conditions or very wet conditions. What I love about Culver's root, I've been growing the plant for 15 years. I have 15-year-old clumps, so it's just Mr. Dependable. And it's a very vertical plant, comes up with these cool spikes. It looks kind of like a Veronica, hence the name Veronicastrum. But I call it a Veronica on steroids because the thing, as you can see, is about around 5 feet high, and these beautiful white spikes just starting to bloom. It's in bud right now, but will bloom. But what I like about it is its wonderful architecture. It's got these leaves that whirl around the stem and really give it a nice clean look. I've never seen insects bother this plant, just a real winner. Great for the rain garden, great for any garden. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln is really leading the way in providing information on rain gardens and the importance of rain gardens, how to install them, the plant material. And this is in one of their lists for plants for rain gardens. You can find information on the university's extension website, which is extension.unl.edu, or you can call your local extension office to get that recent NEB guide, because there's one that's been done specifically devoted to rain gardens. But without a doubt, this plant is a winner for the rain garden. Let's go look at more plants. Here's another perfect plant for the rain garden. This one's called meadowsweet or Filipendula ulmaria. And the meadowsweet I really love, and they call it meadowsweet for its fragrant flower. The flower smells like honey, and the bees and butterflies again love this plant. And what I like about it is it's so adaptable. It can take it wet or dry, and plus its foliage is very interesting and always remains clean throughout the season. I never see critters really bother the foliage very much at all, if at all. And just nice cut leaves to it, and dainty little blossoms. There's also Queen of the Prairie, which comes in a pink form, another wonderful Filipendula. Both deserve a space in the rain garden. So if you're considering putting a rain garden in your landscape, don't leave out meadowsweet. You'll be glad you put it in there. A very long-lived, dependable plant. Okay, man, I can't leave this beautiful little gem out of the mix. We're talking about long-lived perennials. Well, this is one of the best. This is dwarf blue indigo, or Baptisia minor. This is a native plant that actually we talked about a couple of months back when we videotaped wildflowers in bloom. And right now it's at a really cool stage because you got this beautiful seed pod with little curly cool pigtail on the end. And they go from this chartreuse color to nice beautiful chocolatey brown, blackish brown, and so do these wonderful leaves. But right now you've got this bushy little plant that's very tough and stout. You can almost hug the little feller. You're just so cute. But this cuteness is deceiving. This thing's got one heck of a root system. But like a lot of Long-lived perennials, you got to be patient. That's why we don't see these a lot in the garden. They take several years to get established. The first year, you know, you may just have a piddly little guy about this big. Second year, you know, it might have one bloom. Every year after, it gets better and better. I know this plant, 20, 30-year-old clumps that have been in gardens. So very, very long-lived. The little dwarf blue indigo, plant it. Oh, and then right next to it, right over here, is another awesome plant. This is one of our great plants for the Great Plains releases. This is a skullcap, and this one's called Mongolian Skies skullcap. And Mongolian Skies was one that Harlan Hammernick brought back from Mongolia on a plant hunting expedition. Harlan is the founder of Bluebird Nursery in Clarkson, Nebraska, so this plant is definitely available. Ask your local garden center about it. I've grown this in the garden for probably around, 8 to 10 years now, and it's just been real dependable for me. Very long-lived perennial. The skullcaps are very, very tough, and they're interesting plant. Where they get the name skullcap is their interesting seed heads. Their seed heads kind of look like a sunbonnet or a skull cap. If you look at them up close, they're very interesting, but the flowers, that hooded cap on the flower is very distinctive of skull caps as well. So two very long-lived perennials, the little dwarf blue indigo and the little skull cap. Lots more to look at, and I hope you're having fun. Let's visit the garden. Ah, as sweet as honey. This is New Jersey tea, which is also a very long-lived perennial for the garden. This is just a different type of perennial. This is what we call a woody wildflower, meaning the plant grows like a perennial, looks like a perennial, but has very woody stems to it. And then in the wintertime, you notice that it almost looks like a dogwood with the reddish-colored stems in the wintertime. But those will die back to the base or to the crown of the plant. So you do need to cut those woody stems off, and then it'll come up from the crown and bloom right now in the heat of summer with these beautiful little pom-pom white blooms that smell like honey and are very, very desirable for a number of little flying critters. So bees love them, butterflies love them. An awesome plant, the New Jersey tea. And of course, oh yes, it does make a good tea too. I've tried it, a very good tea, by the way. One of my favorite parts of the New Jersey tea is after it blooms, you get these cool seed heads, which certainly add interest to the plant for another, probably another month during the heat of the summer. And they go from this beautiful reddish color, kind of complemented by the reddish stems of the plant, and then they go to black. And then the little seeds kind of get shot out of the plant, and then you're left with kind of this two-tone blackish brown seed pod, or spent seed pod, if you will, that looks good for yet another month. So it's really a great four-season plant. It takes several years to get established, but once you get it established, it's there for a long, long time. New Jersey tea, what a beauty. Hey, we are here on a hot, nasty, miserable morning, and it's not even 10 o'clock and we're already sweating. But look at this plant say, bring it on, bring the heat on. This is one of my favorite long-lived perennials. This is butterfly milkweed, and I think if it had a sexier name than milkweed, you know, people might plant it more. It's not an easy plant to grow because it takes several years to get established. Oftentimes, if a slow-growing plant, we tend to overwater things because it's not growing, it's just sitting there. It's putting down a really thick taproot, so you want to leave the plant alone. This one has been in my garden for at least 7 years now. Comes back strong every year. Beautiful orangish red flowers and nice stature to the plant, shiny leaves and kind of fuzzy stems, and a favorite, as you might guess, of butterflies and bees. So just a fantastic plant for the prairie garden, the butterfly milkweed. And of course, next to it we got seed pods, and we've got lead plant in here, just a variety of prairie plants, including grasses. But there's one more here I want to show you before we move on that's just a beautiful long-lived prairie plant, the pale purple coneflower. So let's go look at those now. Well, a fantastic plant that deserves a space in every garden is, of course, our native purple coneflower. You know, this one is a little bit different animal than you typically see in the garden centers. The Echinacea purpurea, or purple coneflower, this is pale purple coneflower, but this is Nebraska's native. What I love about this guy is the little, the falls on this plant, nice rosy pink falls, dance in the slightest breeze, and so do the tall stalks. It's a very tall coneflower with these fuzzy stalks that lend themselves very well to being a cut flower. I love cutting these. They last a long time in a vase, and they'll seed around the garden, which I appreciate as well. You know, free plants, why not? We got plenty more to look at. Let's move on. What a beautiful plant. The last coneflower I want to talk about, can't leave this beautiful coneflower out. This is called Tennessee coneflower. I like to call it the smiley face coneflower. What's unique about this long-lived perennial is that the rays, these wonderful rosy pink flower rays, are actually upturned. And if you look, all the flowers are kind of leaning towards the sun, smiling at the bright sunshine. And these will turn as the sun moves throughout the day. And just again, noted for those upturned petals, the Tennessee coneflower is definitely a real performer in the garden. In fact, it was the highest rated coneflower in trials that were done at Chicago Botanic Gardens. They trialed all the different coneflower species and cultivars out there, and this was the highest rated one that they grew in their garden. So if it grows in Chicago, I think it'll grow pretty well here for us, and this patch certainly has proved it. Been here for at least a decade or more. So the Tennessee coneflower, without a doubt, a great long-lived perennial. Deserves a space in every garden. So plant it today. Hey, we are here at our last plant we're going to look at today. It's again a hot, sunny day, and this guy's just shining right through. It's just such a beautiful, dependable plant, long-lived in the garden. This is called gayfeather. This one in particular is called spike gayfeather or marsh gayfeather. And there's a couple of varieties out there you want to look for. One is called Kobold, and Kobold is nice because it's a shorter variety like this, maybe 2.5 feet tall. And what's unique with gayfeathers is they start blooming up top and then bloom going down the spike rather than most flowers where they bloom from the bottom going up. So unique in the plant world. You may recognize the flower, very popular in the florist trade as a cut flower. And of course, you can grow it in your garden as a dependable perennial and cut these and take them for flower arrangements. So I hope you learned some things today about some great, dependable, long-lived perennials that deserve more attention, deserve to be planted more in our Great Plains gardens. So have fun, enjoy your summer, and we'll see you next time in the garden. Take care.